Hey, hockey fans, T-Boz is 13-3 here with another top shelf guest. Excelsior, Minnesota native, Minnetonka skimper, Lincoln Star, Minnesota Golden Gopher, and current Minnesota Wild player Vinni Lettieri. This episode is sponsored by Riverside Bike and Skate, Hertel Law, Kelly Heating and Electric, Raleigh's Coach Club, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, which has been committed to the healthcare needs of patients in western Wisconsin since 1954. The orthopedic surgeons and athletic trainers serve many area schools in the Chippewa Valley. Mogi.
Well, Vinny, first of all, thank you for taking the time to come and sit with us and talk a little bit of hockey. And also thanks to the folks at Tavern 23, the owner whom you know very well, your grandfather, Lou Nanny. So very cool. We're happy to be here, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit nostalgic now because we got his grandfather's photo right behind us here.
And I'm currently watching someone skate right outside. It's pretty cool.
Now,
it's
is
nice.
that part of the tavern here, or is that part of the city, the skating rink right outside the window here?
No, I think it's just a part of the city. It's beautiful too. When we're out here on the patio in the summertime, like every time about 6:30, 7 when the sun starts going down or whatever it is, it reflects right off the lake and right off the buildings right here, and it's like a terrific sunset. You're just getting a nice reflection, so it's actually a beautiful spot to be in the patio on any summer given night.
Oh, that is nice. That is cool as heck.
Nice.
Yeah. You were born into an amazingly athletic family. Obviously, your grandfather played pro hockey, but your father played professional soccer. Was there any doubt that you were going to be a professional athlete yourself?
I mean, it's the percentage of professional athletes versus those who play is very small. So obviously, I always dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. It was always a hockey player, though. I don't think I could ever remember myself envisioning myself as a soccer player. Which was, tore my dad up a little bit, but yeah, as long as I can remember. I mean, the amount of shots I took downstairs in my basement trying to become a professional hockey player and winning the Stanley Cup, that's all I envisioned growing up. And I had pictures of Alexander Ovechkin all over my room and everywhere. That was kind of my guy growing up. It was all the way into, I never took those down. Just 3 years ago, we sold our house, or 2 years ago in Minnetonka. I still had the pictures up. So,
wow.
I had them up even when I was playing against them. So,
wow.
Pretty funny. I got his stick, though, now, which is nice.
Oh, very good.
Did he at least autograph it for you?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Very nice. Well, let's talk about your dad. He played in 2 Olympics and a World Cup, and was inducted into the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame in 2001. And we understand you did play soccer and were pretty darn good at it when you were a youngster.
Yeah, my dad was actually very well connected. So when it came to soccer, I played it growing up. I practiced it. It was kind of harder for me to practice on my skills and stuff with soccer just because the passion and everything for hockey just dragged me all to that sport. But my dad loved practicing with me, and we go out in the park and he'd make these like makeshift goals and stuff. He was actually very creative. But he wanted me to play soccer so bad, but he also did play hockey. He was a hockey goalie as well, so he loved the sport.
Okay.
It was until my sophomore year of high school, after that sophomore season, I was like, I'm done. Like, it was like I had to build up the courage to tell him that I didn't want to play anymore. My sister did the same thing. It was years and years like, okay, when is the year that I'm going to stop playing? Because I always knew I was going to stop. I just didn't know because, like, I did have some skill in soccer, and my dad probably thought I was just as good as hockey as I was soccer, but the passion was not even close. And he knew tons of scouts and tons of teams that could come out and watch me, and he was like, people are starting to become interested. They know who I am, my dad. So he's like, it obviously draws some attention towards my play. But I mean, I could care less about playing soccer. It's just like, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It just not even close to hockey for me personally. And my sister had the kind of the same thing. So my My dad's
poor
heart.
dad.
Yeah, his heart was broken once by my sister, and then I finished it off.
Oh, jeez.
It was sad.
Nice
But
kids, huh?
Well, but good for you that he allowed you to make that turn and decide on the sport that you wanted
Yeah.
rather than the sport he wanted you to
yeah.
play.
And he like I said, he loved soccer or loved hockey, so it wasn't. He got over it pretty quickly.
So my understanding is you didn't totally stop playing fall sports, though.
No, well, I played soccer, and then I immediately hung up the cleats, and then I was like, thank you. Like, I can finally relax. I got that behind me. Literally, like, the next day, I wake up, not to my alarm clock, but to a phone call from Coach Nelson from the football team. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He says, like, Vinny, how are you? You know, we're in need of a kicker. We know that soccer players make for great kickers. Like, what are your thoughts? And I was just laying in my bed. I was like, no way. Like, this is horrible right now. Because I knew that I was going to tell my dad, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. So I just told Coach Nelson, I was like, listen, just finished soccer. I was like, just give me a second. I'll think on it, and I'll call you back. I told my dad, he was like, pick up that phone right now. You're playing.
Oh.
So he was happy.
My dad was ecstatic. He goes, that'd be so cool. He goes, you're adding another thing to your resume of playing football. So picked up the phone and said, all right, I'll play. And that was it. And Coach Nelson and the rest of the staff, they treated me so well. It was unbelievable. Like, where I felt like I didn't even deserve it. Because, I mean, those football practices are close to 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I would show up hour and a half in to practice, bring my football kicking coach that I found. I was just a place kicker, so I didn't do any punting, didn't do any of that. And I worked with him over on the sidelines by myself or over on another field, just kick a bunch all day. And then I kick for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'd go and do their drills when they would do the split squad stuff and then the PATs, and then I'd leave. So, I mean, I would show up an hour and a half in, and I'd leave before they were done. And then they would get on the line to do conditioning. I was like, no chance.
Not me.
No. I did it once. I'm like, I don't even need, like, no. I felt bad because they gave me all the greatest stuff. They gave me all the new equipment. Like, these guys are working their butts off day in and day out, sweating and doing this stuff. And I'm showing up and I'm getting all the new stuff, all the new equipment, all the new helmets. And I was just like, feel bad. But the guys were so great on the football team. The coaching staff, everyone was so helpful because I knew that I was there to play hockey. I wasn't there to play football, but they were in need of a kicker, and I did it, and I'm so happy I did because it was a great experience.
You know, as you look back, you played obviously multiple sports. Do you feel that helped you with your hockey career, having that dynamic of the different sports?
Soccer for sure. Football, the only thing I could think of is just like pressure. And
Sure. Yeah, as a kicker.
make a field goal to win a game, or like those PATs, those extra points, they're as easy as it looks. It's you always got to get dialed in because it's so easy for even the snapper to mess something up, and you got to be ready just in case the football is not held perfectly. Like it's easy, you know. It's what you should be doing. It's like me sitting at the red line and shooting one in on the empty net from just sitting there. Like obviously it's your job, you should make it. But
Sure.
How many times have you seen kickers in the NFL, the best of the best, miss time and time? And it's more prevalent now. I think it's more pressure now than it used to be, just because with all the social media and everything. And but it's crazy how it's like even a free throw in basketball. You know, it's like people miss them still.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be the guy that misses it, especially after the team just had a nice touchdown and maybe they're going ahead. You need that extra point. So,
Right.
And I did miss one. It was on an all grass field, not turf. And I mean, I went down and my foot just got caught right in the grass because there was divots there. And I was looking at it before because of all the kickers that kicked before me.
Okay.
And I'm already going like, oh no. Like, what if I mess this one up? Sure enough.
Oh, you
Just
already
for me thinking like
got in
that,
your head,
I hit
yep.
the pipe.
Oh,
I missed it.
damn. But in high school, you only missed one.
Yeah, one, and then I had my best one was to go to state against Eden Prairie. I nailed one with like 2 minutes to go. I don't know how far it was, like 30-something yards, but it was to go to state. nailed it. And I was on the sidelines like, there's no way that I'm sending this football team to state. I was like, that's an absolute joke. And I'm coming in first year, and I'm bringing Tonka to state. And then Eden Prairie scored with like less than a minute left.
Oh.
Yeah, and we lost. But I was like, this is crazy. This is like a Rudy story.
For sure.
But it was really fun. And like I said, that could be a pressure thing. That's, taking a penalty shot, just like different types of the game. You need to be mentally strong. And there's some cold-blooded killers out there when it comes like McDavid and some guys like that
yeah.
when it's the game's on the line, like they're finishing it. So I think that was great for me to handle more pressure, but soccer is all feet and coordination, so that's good. Stamina, that helps a lot.
Wow, for our young listeners, this is a hell of a lesson right here of, the different things that you learn just from those different sports, aside from athletics. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so going back, you talked a little bit about the history of loving the game. When, if you recall, or if your parents told you, when did you actually strap on the skates and start playing?
It's like any kid now that comes out of the womb, right? When that guy can start walking, you throw him on skates, like family skates, and just have him go out there. So it's like, I mean, it was when I was 1 or 2, they strapped on the skates on me.
Yeah?
I have no idea. I can't remember the first time I took on skates. I even see pictures of me from when I was like really young, 2, 3 years old, with all the jerseys and them strapping me up on the pond and stuff. I mean, I don't really remember too well, but that's as far as I can remember if you're looking at pictures.
So when did the passion kick in, or was it
right away?
Right away.
I can't even think about it.
Like
there's nothing. Yeah, there was no turning point where I said I love this. It was right from the get go. I think.
Wow, that's fantastic.
'Cause I still have it today. Still have the kid in me today. There's open ice. There's nothing that I love more. I can work on my game and my craft 2 to 3 hours a day. All the time, every day, before practice, after practice. I love it. I don't know. Sometimes it's oddly enough, you can probably get this from some athletes, but sometimes you almost love practice more than the game. Not just because of pressure situations, and everyone loves to play, and there's nothing like winning, nothing like scoring goals and doing that. But getting better is something that fuels you, because you like. You miss a shot in the game, the next thing I'm thinking about is that next day I'm taking several shots from the exact same spot. And then once you do it over and over again, it's like, it's just a no-brainer. You're just unconscious. You just do
Automatic.
it.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory, yeah.
So talk to our young listeners then, Vinny, about what they can do when they are alone and they do have some time to work on their game. What would you say they should emphasize?
I think practicing with a purpose. Some guys, if you ever watch pregame skates, if you ever watch anything, or young kids, they go out there and you just do the Indy 500. You just skate around in a circle, pass, shoot, pass, shoot. You're not actually working on anything. People will flick pucks in the net. You're not actually working on anything. For me, every year I've gotten older, it's become more apparent what I have to work on, and it's the little details that no one thinks about. It's and I've been working with Adam Oates for several years now. We work on more rims now than I've ever had in my whole entire life. So I'll take 20 to 30 minutes during before practice just rimming pucks. People are rimming pucks to me, just picking it up off the wall, because I think Dallas Eakin said on the NHL Network, I think 80% of the game, somewhere around there, is on the yellow that people don't notice.
I believe that. Yeah.
So, or within 3 feet of the yellow. The puck's always on the wall. So that should, if I was looking at my younger self today, I would say that's the number one thing you got to do, is be able to pick a puck up off the wall comfortably, with pressure, without pressure. That's such a big part of the game.
And you mentioned Adam Oates. You worked with him, obviously a legendary NHL player, but also he works with a lot of guys on skills right now. Is that who you focused with this summer? I understand you worked a lot on your skating and also on your shot over the summer.
Yeah, skating has been with Barry Carnes, Josh Winter, all those guys growing up here locally. Skating was never, thankfully, it was never an issue for me. That's something I just show up and do, just as muscle memory, but I wouldn't like say I needed to go work on it, it would just be year after year I do it just because it's just something that you continually get better at. But stick handling and shooting are things that I've continually worked on year after year. But then when you start to work with Adam Oates and you figure out, okay, the details to what you need to work on are broken down even more simpler than shooting and doing that. It's passing. It's the way you catch the puck on your stick. It's the position that you put it in versus like if you catch a puck, you can tell by a player's shot if you catch a puck and you don't load it correctly. If you load it just at your kind of right in front of you, you're going to get a totally different shot than if you load it in the right position kind of parallel to your skate, where everything is so much faster, it's so much harder, it's so much more accurate. If I take a puck and it's 2 inches in front of me from where it needs to be, maybe I'll hit the top right corner 3 out of 8 times, 3 out of 7 times. If I get it loaded, I'll hit the corner 5 out of 6 times. Cool. So it's just like it's a game of inches, and you need to have it loaded in the exact area at the right time, because you also need to know where to have the puck while you're carrying it, because at any time I need to be able to give a pass. I can't have it here, and all of a sudden I can't make a backhand pass to the guy to my right, because then I have to go here and then there. Yep. Versus if I'm right here, I can make a forehand, backhand, drop it, shoot it. So it's like the little details like that matter, and picking up rims, passing, and everything. So it's crazy.
Back to the basics is what it boils down to. And, we didn't discuss this, but for our listeners, what position do you play, and how did you choose that position?
I play forward, and there's nothing I like more than scoring goals.
I love that.
And it drives my grandpa and my dad nuts if I ever pass up a shot, because they're just like, you got a great shot, you got to shoot the puck, because you never know which one's going to go in. You could take 10 shots on net, and maybe one will go in. You could take 3 shots on net, and all 3 will go in. Or you could take 10 shots, and none of them will go in. So you never know, and that's the shooter's mentality that Kobe Bryant had, that Michael Jordan had. You never know, or Steph Curry. The next shot could be the one that goes in. And just because you miss, you're just one step closer to making the next shot. So versus people might say, I took 10 shots, okay, I'm done shooting because I can't score. But it could be the 11th shot. It could be the 13th, the 15th shot. You never know. But you know that you're one step closer to having that puck go in.
Yep.
So
the law of averages.
Keep firing the biscuit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to jump ahead a little bit because you were on the subject, and that is you love the ice. You love being on the ice. So run us through, are you the type of guy when it's practice time for the Wild, are you like the first guy on the ice, last guy off, or what's your dynamic when it comes to practice time?
Always the first one out there. It bothers me when someone beats me out there. I also have to keep in mind how early I get out there, because I don't want to rip up the ice too much. I've gotten kind of good at knowing what I can do and can't do. I'm not going to do figure eights in the middle of the ice and stuff like that, where it's going to totally carve up the ice. But after practice, I don't know. We always do our split 4, split D, and then little one-timers and face-offs and stuff like that. But you know how bad the ice gets after practice. It's not really even worth it at that point, because it's like you can't even really work on much. So for me, I usually get 20 to 30 minutes every day on the ice just by myself, and then a couple of guys will jump out there with me. Duhaime likes to do that stuff. Marco's always out there early. But then you go and see like guys like Kirill, who you can't get them off the ice. Doesn't matter the snow. It's just fun to be out there, and you just get into competitions with people, and just trickles down with everyone. Zuccarello loves doing that. But for me personally, since I was a kid, I was always the first one on.
So some guys have that superstition. They, during a warm-up before a game, they want to be the last guy off the ice. And then other guys on the other team kind of pick up on that, and they kind of play that little mind game.
Like Marchand and Sagan?
Yeah. So is there anybody on your team that knows you want to be the first guy out there, and he just waits till you're coming down the hallway and he pops out?
So it used to happen a little bit like that. Some people would try to do that. But, I mean, if they beat me out, great. That just means that I'm pushing them to try to beat me. But it's funny, but I'm not like out there exerting a lot of energy. I'm sick because, in the middle of the season, you're tired, and there's days where you can't do too much because you're so gassed, or you're trying to save some energy. So I'm I work in small areas, try to do some just small area stuff. I'm not out there skating circles and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, understandable. All right, let's go back to high school. Obviously, you were noticed because you ended up playing in the USHL. Were you drafted? And if so, did you? When were you starting to get looks?
I forgot how early they draft in the USHL, but thought I remember I was. What year it was? I don't even remember. It was but it had been my sophomore year because that's my first year in playing varsity. Because my freshman year I was still playing Bantams.
Okay. All right.
So I had 2 years of high school, but it was the freshman year sophomore year, and then junior year I knew that year I was going to go to the USHL. It's kind of hard as a kid that in high school. There's nothing like playing in front of that student section. There's nothing like playing at high school hockey in Minnesota. State tournament I obviously never got to. But it's like, that's the sacrifice that you take to become a pro. It's just like, how do you leave the comfort of your home, the comfort of your parents, home-cooked meals, getting into a routine, playing for your high school, playing in front of the student section. Like, that's a lot to give up to go leave with a billet family in Nebraska. It's a lot different. But I was so fortunate that the Conveys took me in, and I had an unbelievable time with them. They were my billet family, and they were unbelievable people. I lived with one guy, Brad Hawkinson, and it was so fun. But it takes a little bit of growing up. I was homesick a little bit, but then I don't know. Thankfully, I had him too. But yeah, that's how I ended up going to Lincoln, and it was a great experience, a great growing opportunity for me as well.
So your high school conference is quite competitive, though, too. I mean, you've got some teams in there that you got to have your A game every time you show up. What was that like?
The games against the smaller schools were a little tougher, but you would always mark on your calendar the days you'd play Edina.
Oh.
I mean, Wayzata and Eden Prairie are huge too. Do you just like to go against big schools like that? Yeah. Especially going away and playing in front of their student section. There's something that I love more. I don't know why, but I love playing away. Even to this day, going to away arenas. It's just something about trying to put on a show in front of their fans and showing us like that we're coming in and we're going to steal a win from you guys and having to be silent. That's a cool feeling. But then there's no greater feeling than playing in front of your own fans. And the XL Energy, too, to this day is one of my favorite places, probably the favorite place that I've ever played. I've grew up watching the Wild forever. But going back, playing Edina, I caught the third period yesterday after the Wild played Tampa. I zipped on over to Braemar, and I caught the third period in overtime of the Edina-Minnetonka game.
Oh, who won that one?
Tie.
Oh, they tied?
Yeah, Minnetonka still hasn't lost, I don't think. I think they've tied to Wayzata, I believe. And they tied against Edina last night. I could not believe, how big and how fast and how skilled these guys are compared to when we were there. But this fan base was nuts. It took us 25 minutes to find a parking spot. It was down the road all the way past the dome. People were parked in illegal ways I didn't even know were possible. And it was just like, that's just Minnetonka, Minnetonka Edina, but just high school hockey in general. Got two powerhouses going, 1 versus 3.
Yeah.
I think there was about 9 commits, D1 commits on Minnetonka, I believe. Something crazy like that. I was like, that is a big thing.
Oh,
and they are so good.
The true state of hockey.
It's exactly right. But Edina, number 1. That's the best play. I was like, you should just have Edina versus Minnetonka once a week. Like, it is that great.
We're going to give a quick shout out to a couple sponsors. Riverside Bike and Skate, Eau Claire's Hockey Headquarters, which is the oldest hockey store in the state of Wisconsin, Buy hockey gear from the people that play and know the game. And don't forget about their bicycle sales and service, as well as Paddle Sports Center for kayaks and canoes. And Hertel Law, the law firm you want on your side, focusing on criminal defense and personal injury. And Harry Hertel, ironically, has had season tickets for the Minnesota Wild since the inception. So a true hockey fan. He obtains results for clients in the Chippewa Valley since 1981. When you need help for legal help or injuries, call Harry Hertel. Mogi.
All right, so Vinny, you had a really great season. Your one full season in Lincoln. You earned a spot in the top prospects game, and you were named to the all rookie team. So when did colleges start reaching out to you?
Was in high school a little bit, my junior year, and then right after that Lincoln season, my first call was from North Dakota. Ironically enough, my first call pro was the Blackhawks, so the same logo, pretty much.
Wow.
Sure,
Yeah.
So it was very weird how that worked out. They were both the first teams that reached out, but I'll never forget my the first call I got from North Dakota. I was in Ritter Arena, and this unknown number was calling me, and then answered, and I was right in the lobby of Ritter, and he told me who he was. And I mean, I had chills going down my spine. I was like, this is actually happening. My first
there you go.
offer from, if not the best school in college hockey, them, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I was like, this is insane. And so that was my first offer. Then the offers started coming in from there. Ivy League schools, I was like, no chance. I cannot go to Harvard and do that. I was like, as cool as it is, and they'd always sell you on the bean pot because that's the biggest thing.
Sure. Yep.
But I was like, I don't care what school calls me. I don't care if 100 schools call me. Minnesota and North Dakota called. Those are my schools I'm going to. One of those two. And I took my first visit to North Dakota. Obviously, when you go to North Dakota, you're not looking at the farmland. You're not looking at the schooling. You're not looking at the dorms. It's a lot different than going down Twin Cities and being at Mariucci and seeing all the beautiful dorms and stuff in Minnesota. But when I step foot in the Ralph, it's like, that's it. This is it. Like the locker room, the weight room, the facility. You've seen it. What I don't know if you guys have seen their locker room now in their training facility.
I have not been there.
It is the most
video.
incredible thing I've ever seen. They have a full bike room that they can type in a certain elevation. If they're going to play Denver or CC or something, the whole entire room changes to the elevation.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have 50 bikes in there, and they can change to whatever altitude, whatever they want. It's a full sealed glass area, and that's how they get ready to go play.
Holy cow. So Colorado College in Denver, any other high elevation spots? Just those.
Not off the top of my head, anything in Colorado is just, I don't know. That's what you train for, the altitude as far as hockey goes, but I couldn't believe it. There was a video that came out pretty recently just showing how great their facilities were.
So obviously that impressed the heck out of you going on that visit.
Yeah.
So now you come to Minnesota with their phone call. What was the deciding factor?
The Rangers did the same thing to me. Minnesota did the same thing. They know they got you right when they got the phone call. They came in late. Minnesota was one of my last calls.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. That in Wisconsin. I was pissed that Wisconsin didn't offer me right off the bat because I was like, what's your guys' problem? Am I not doing enough for you guys? I didn't even want to go there. I just wanted to see that
get an offer.
That offer came the day I committed to Minnesota, by the way. The Wisconsin.
Day late and dollar short.
Yeah, exactly. My grandpa, he was sitting in my house after I came back from Nodak. He was so pissed I went to visit North Dakota.
I was wondering how he thought about what he thought about that.
My parents were going out to dinner one night, and my grandpa was sitting in the porch. All the lights were off, and there was a little lamp that was on. He said, no one was home, and he wanted to speak to you. They didn't know why. So I walk in. It's like out of a movie. The guy is in the porch. He's in the corner. There's only one light on, pretty much. He's sitting with his legs crossed, and he just goes, "Take a seat."
Oh, like a thriller.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's like The Godfather. And he goes, "Do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a potato farmer? Do you want to be a pilot?" It's like, "No." He goes, "Why the hell are you going to North Dakota and visiting that school?" And I'm like, "Okay, now I know why you're here." He goes, "Minnesota's got one of the best business schools in the country." He goes, "Minnesota's the best hockey school you can go to. They got all the academics. They got everything you could need. Why would you ever want to go to North Dakota?" I was like, "Well, the hockey. I'm not going to going there for school." He goes, "That's not the point." He goes, "Life after hockey. That's what's most important."
Looking out for your future.
Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Well, you're going to go on a visit to Minnesota. I already know you are." He goes, "I don't want to hear anything else about it." He goes, "You need a future after hockey. And for your sake, if you're not going to be a potato farmer or in aviation, a diploma from Minnesota is a lot heavier than the diploma at North Dakota. And you're going to have great schools there. You're going to have a great major there." He goes, "And that's what you're going to do." And I go, "Okay, yeah, thanks a lot. So you want to call Minnesota and tell them that you're committing for me?" And so I went on a visit with Grant Petoli. I actually didn't even have an official visit. Now that I think about it, I had a little visit with the coaching staff, and he took me on a golf cart around the campus stuff. And I mean, it is amazing. And it's 4 of the best years I've ever had in my life. And I am just so beyond blessed that I have a diploma there, and I graduated with communications major, which isn't nothing like the Carlson Business School, which a guy like Hudson Fashing had. But in Bukestad, those guys are smart as whips. But those guys grinded through college, and we just try to get a good major, get communications, get our degree, and get out. But it was, I mean, I would not have it any other way. As much as I love North Dakota's system, as much as I love that they live and breathe hockey, life after hockey is more important than hockey, because you think you're playing hockey for, if you're lucky, 35, 36 years old. You're looking at a guy like Flower and those guys that are still playing, they're close to 40. That's insane. Yeah. That doesn't happen. That's beyond the smallest percentage I could think of. So it's like you got another handful of years that you're going to need that diploma. So it's important that I went to Minnesota. But like I said, it was the best 4 years of my life, and I wouldn't take it back for anything.
So you did earn all academic status 3 years there. Are you saying that
it's all about who you know?
Oh, okay. and your major, it sounds like, too.
Yeah, no, I worked hard in school. I was honestly scared of my mom. I'm still scared of my mom in college. They harped on me. My dad didn't really care. He never graduated high school. So he was all sports, everything. He would just be the dad. Yeah, it's important that you get good grades. But my mom, I mean, I was scared from the get-go, from high school, getting grounded, being threatened to be shipped out to boarding school to Shattuck. That's why I hated Shattuck, because I thought it was like a place I was getting grounded for, and I'm going off to like Alcatraz if I had bad grades. So I always tried hard in school. I was also always close to my teachers. I think that was the best thing. You got to find a way to get good grades, and the teachers are always going to be in your corner if you have a good relationship with them.
That's true.
And
true. Yeah.
I always went to after hours tutoring with them and got help on my essays and what I needed to do. And I think that's just as important of a lesson than it is showing up and doing your work.
Well, that's a great message for our younger listeners, too.
Absolutely,
academics was important to you, and that's fantastic. But let's focus now a little bit on the championship game against Union. You guys, unfortunately, didn't come out on the winning end.
Yeah.
What was that atmosphere like? You know, you've had your ups and downs, and now that's a downtime. How do you rebound from a national championship loss?
Well, I don't think you could have been as high as we were when we beat Nodak with 0.6 seconds left with Justin Hall scoring that goal. That is the pinnacle. That's pretty much winning a national title, is doing that, because that's the biggest rival, and you're playing them in the biggest stage for college hockey. There were riots or helicopters, horses, everything at our campus that night back in Minnesota. It was insane. We were like the things were being on fire, cars, everything. It was like what did we just do? What did Justin Hall just do? It was the most, and the puck was all the way in our end, the left circle. It was like, for that all to happen was just like, we're winning the national title. You don't just beat Nodak with 0.6 seconds left, your biggest rival, and now you're winning the state championship. It was a shoo-in that we were winning this thing. It was a perfect script. Sure. But college hockey is different. It's very bothersome to me that it's one game, but that's just how it is. Yeah. If we played Union in the series of 7, I don't care who you are, I think we're winning that one. Yeah. Union I have one of my best family friends actually is dating my cousin, Sam Coda, was on that team.
Okay, yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, he won the national title that year. One of our best family friends, he's from Minnetonka. Max Coda was in my grade, and so we were best friends growing up. But their team was so gritty. They had so many older guys on their team. They got true veteran team. Yeah. The age limit on that team was nuts. It was like all 26-year-old, 25-year-old, 24-year-olds. Like, they were really, really deep. And then you had Goss's Spirit put on a show where you have 7 points that night. It was hard to take in, but at the same time, I was a freshman, so I didn't know what the heck was going on that year. I show up to campus and we win every game. There wasn't any time we came to the rink where I didn't think we were winning. Like, that's just how it went, and that's what probably a team like Tampa Bay would have told you too. Every time they showed up, they knew that they were winning, and if they lost, they'd be like, it'd be pretty crazy that they lost. That's how confident that they were. That's how confident we were. So like, winning was just natural, and I didn't know anything else. And then when we got there, it was just like a whirlwind for me, because it was like the big stage, going from Lincoln, Nebraska, to the national title game at the end of the year. So it was kind of hard for me to take in everything, the game. I took in everything around it, how cool it was. But yeah, that one definitely hurt, because that would have been pretty cool.
Oh. Yeah, that's for sure. Let's jump now. You end up with the New York Rangers after college. How did that transition occur? Because I don't think you were drafted. You ended up signing with them. Is that correct?
Yeah, free agent.
Free agent. So how did that transition occur, and how did they eye you up?
I started getting offers through my senior year. I had looked to my junior year. I went to a bunch of developmental camps. I went to Wild. I went to Nashville Predators. Who else did I go to? I went to a handful. But during my junior year and after my junior year, I had looks, but nothing really too appealing. I knew senior year is the last kick of the can. For me, I grew every year with confidence. I grew with how to play the game. I grew with maturity, and I also grew with a lot more minutes, from being on the fourth line to being on the top line, top 2 penalty killing units, top power play. So we played a lot.
Yeah, your points really showed. You had 8, 12, 26, and 37.
Yeah, and still to this day, it bothers me I didn't have that 19 and 19. Or I don't know my goal count that year, if it was, but I was one off what I wanted to be. And I still remember I missed one against Notre Dame too, I think that year, right across the goal line against my buddy Cal Peterson, I think it was.
Dang.
Yeah, but what were we saying again? I just lost my
We're
train
talking
of thought.
about the transition
The
from
transition.
college up to New York.
Sorry. So right when we started entering kind of the playoff mode for the Gophers my senior year, that's when I started having real offers, and that's when I told you Chicago was my first offer, and they gave me a disc to put in and see, like, this is how Chicago plays. It was like, this is amazing. Like, this is like I have a chance to become a Chicago Blackhawks after my senior year, and then they're giving me like thing of how we play and stuff like that. Like, great fast team. It loves to make plays. Great with the stick. Like Duncan Keith was unbelievable with the stick. So then that happened, and then after my senior year, after the season ended, then I was figuring out where I was going to play. And like I said, Minnesota and New York both came in late. And I was looking just at the depth charts of the teams. And Chicago Blackhawks, I've always wanted to play for. That was like a really cool team. But then New York came in, and I was like, wow, playing on the biggest stage.
Yeah. MSG.
Yeah. It was like, nothing gets better than that. And I knew I wanted to leave home. Wild wasn't even on my radar from day one. I was like, I'm probably not going to play at home, and I'm fine with that because that's what comes with hockey. It's traveling, it's making memories, it's seeing different parts of the country. So I never actually thought that I was going to play for Minnesota. It'd be unbelievable if I had the chance to, but no, I was leaving. And I was actually going to play center. I was like, okay, they don't have a lot of depth on their center.
Okay.
In the center position. And I played center in college. So I signed there to play the center. I never played center once.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just how it works. There's some teams because the opportunity came. Chris Kreider went down, and that's when I got my first call to play against Detroit. And I was a winger that game. And then after that, I was a winger pretty much the whole time I was there, which is funny because I signed to be a center. I never got to play center. But some teams do that. Some teams will play you. If a right winger goes down, they're bringing a right winger up. Yeah. It's a first line center going down. They're bringing a first line center to fill that position. And then other teams will do, okay, there's a third line wing that goes down. We're taking fourth line, but we're taking a first line guy and putting him there.
Okay.
So it's different how certain teams do it. Boston really works that way. They want position for position and keep everything sound. And others, it's just who's playing the best. We're throwing you in whatever position. I don't care if you're right wing, left wing, grinder, goal scorer. So that's just how it worked out for me. Didn't play any center there. I just played wing, but it was an awesome start to my career and got to play my first game against Detroit. And that was pretty cool with my family in attendance.
And you scored your first goal then?
First goal, first shot. It was it was unreal.
I can do this.
Yeah. I got off that, the first warm-ups, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I can't feel my stick. I can't feel my gloves. My heart's racing. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to compete tonight. And I was looking around like, this is the coolest thing ever. But I don't know how I'm going to play. And it took me a little bit to get into it. To calm myself down, and then I scored that goal, and I was like, I'm scoring 20 this year. That's how hockey works.
Oh, absolutely.
You think that you're in a drought, and then you score one, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I could score 20 to 30 this year. This is easy. Like, I feel great. And then that's just pro hockey. It can humble you, and it can lift you up in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to
like that too.
Exactly. You need to stay even keeled, and that's the best thing I've learned. My adversity in pro hockey is like I've never seen before, and I think my position that I've been in throughout my whole entire life is as hard as it gets. Being on the cusp and going up and down, up and down, up and down. Your mind works in crazy ways. Because even with New York, there was a pattern going on where every 5 games I get sent down, and I didn't know if it was intentional or if it just happened that way. So every time I'd approach the 5-game mark, it happened once bye week, it happened once All-Star break, it happened 2 or 3 other times. I was like, what is going on? So I knew I had 5 games. And then I get sent down.
And did you ever figure out the reason?
No, it just the way it happened, and sometimes it's saving cap. So if you had 3 days off between games, they would send you down to go play. And then they would bring you back up, or they'd send you down on paper.
Because they technically pay you less.
Yeah, and it would help their cap too.
Sure.
Every time you lose a guy in roster, it helps their cap. But yeah, it's funny. So I learned so much adversity, how to cope with it, and it's still hard till this day because you never know what can happen. Some people don't break into the NHL until they're early to mid 30s. Some guys don't break till their 20s. Some guys break when they're 18. Like in a guy like Faber, like he's right away.
Yeah.
But who knows? If he was somewhere else, what if maybe the coaching staff or maybe the GM or someone didn't trust him right away? Maybe he spent a couple years in the minors and gets a couple games here and there. It's all perspective on their end, and Faber has been insane, lights out. Like from the moment I skated with him, I'm like, I just came from Boston. I was like, this guy reminds me identical to Charlie McAvoy, like identical. I don't know. It's the way he skates, the way he handles the puck, his mannerisms, everything. And McAvoy is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. And I was like, I see it right away. And he's just played playoffs pretty much last year.
Right. Yeah.
And now you see what he's done this year. So he's the sky's the limit for him, and he's been unbelievable to play with, and he's going to have a bright future ahead.
So I don't want to talk negative here, but are they grinding him down too much, too fast? I mean, he's playing almost a half an hour every single night, and I think he's played as many games as he ever played as a Gopher, and now he's gone over that mark, right, that Mendoza line, whatever it is, when I've never played this many games before, really know how to react, don't know how your body's going to handle it.
As a spectator and as a fan and as an outsider and everything like that, you could say he's playing too much. You could say that people would say they're going to wear him down if we make playoffs. When we make playoffs, he's not going to be energized enough. But then you think from a player's perspective, you always want more. And he's had to take a big step with Spurge being out a little bit with the beginning of the year and today. There's nothing better than getting more minutes. You're going to be tired. You're going to be gassed. He's had games where he comes out and I'm like, holy crap. I was like, look at that guy. That guy's like a deflated tire right now. And he's got crazy stamina too. So it's like I think the mental side of it is just, you just keep going. You keep going. It's recovery. It's your diet. It's getting ready for the next night. And we have all the resources for that. And the Wild do such a phenomenal job of getting the guys ready each and every single night. The equipment staff, the trainers, strength guys, the dietitianers, they work really well with getting vitamins and doing all that stuff. And the chefs, like there's so many behind the scene people that work to make sure that you are ready that next night. So I think Brock can play as many minutes as you give him. And he's never going to tap out. He'll never surrender. He'll never say that he can't go. He'll always go. It's going to take an army to get him off the ice. So he's awesome, and he's, like I said, the sky's the limit for him, and he's just going to continue to get better and better.
As long as we're talking about teammates right now, as we watch Marc-Andre Fleury breaking records right now, I can't help but laugh when I watch him come out of the net, beyond the crease. He's in the corner.
So
he's
funny.
up by the blue line. Do you guys, do you kind of, shit your pants when you're watching him out that far?
It's more like just funny. It's just like, this guy is insane. He can literally do it all. And we're not, you're like, whoa, like, but it's like, you're almost laughing at the same time. And it's like, this guy can do anything. And I'm going to go back to it again. I don't know how old he is. Is he 38, 39?
39.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's 39, and look what he's doing. Crosby's having one of his best seasons probably ever. If he continues, he probably will be his best season. And he's how old? Something.
Well, he's
gotta be close to
36,
that, too.
37, somewhere in that range.
So it's just insane what guys just keep doing. Like, he says he might retire next year. Why would you retire when you're that good? He's a Stanley Cup contender. One of the best goalies, if not the best goalie right now in the league, and he's 39 years old. Versus a guy like Shesterkin, who I played with, Georgiev I played with.
Sure.
They're young.
Yeah.
They're up and coming. The guy's already won a Vezina. He's so good. And Fleury is the best right now. So it's like, you can't put an age on someone. You can't put miles on someone. It's let them play until they say he's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the right term, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Oh, yeah.
doing, yeah.
So I was watching the game the other night, and I can't remember who you guys were playing, but they hit a couple of posts and
When he rubbed his pipe.
Fleury, it's like almost like he's kissing the crossbar. It's like that's so awesome. But he's done that his whole career, and he's been like that his whole career, and it's so cool to see him being so youthful and energetic, and he's always smiling. This guy's got a smile on his face all the time.
One of the last ones on the ice too. The guy's 39 years old. Tell him to get off the ice. A lot of 39-year-olds would be like, I'm getting off. I'm getting on last. I'm getting off. And getting off first. But he's taking breakaways till those doors open.
Pure love.
And he's so fun. He doesn't care who you are. If you're 15th season in the league, if you're first game, he's treating you the exact same. That's how special of a guy he is.
Has he pulled any pranks on you?
No, I know my limits with him. It's fun to battle with him on the ice, but he's just such a terrific, respectful guy that he just want to be around him. But Duhaim's seen a lot of his pranks. So they're pretty funny, though. And even when he goes to play Pittsburgh, he screws around with Malkin and Lettieri Crosby still. Like, he'll go into the locker room and do whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah. Till this day, yeah. And they all know. It's just him. That's his personality. But he's one of a kind, and I've been very fortunate to play some insane goalies. Lundqvist, Georgiev, Shesterkin, Allmark, Swayman, John Gibson, now Fleury and Gustafson. Like, I've had some
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, it's insane. And there's a consistency with all of them, and that's hard work, and they want to win. That's all.
Yep. So you've been. Oh, go ahead, JC.
I was going to ask him if you could tell us a little bit about. You've had a coaching change with the Wild this year.
Yeah. How
does that affect the locker room or the atmosphere with the personalities of the players?
It's what I'm going to speak on that is that some people have good relationship with coaches, some people don't. So whenever there's a coaching change, some people are going to take a deep breath and go like, okay, thank you. Some people are going to be pissed, be like, I love that guy. I've been fortunate enough to be around so many great coaches, and I had a short stint with Dean Evison, and I can tell you he's been nothing but good to me, helped me a lot. I wish him all the best. He did a lot of great things for the Wild in this organization. He's going to get another coaching job somewhere soon. I know it. But then you bring in Hines, and Hines has been great for us too. I think the record, you're going to be like, oh, wow, he came in and we won 11 of 14. And then, oh, my gosh, we lost 8 games and we won 1 out of 9. It's like, what is it? Well, at the end of the day, the players have to perform. It's not on just the coaching staff, and it's not on just the players. It's everyone. I think it doesn't matter what coach you have. If the players stick to the same exact system and they're on the same page, they're going to have a good chance of winning each night. And so for Hines so far, he's been awesome. He's been a great guy. He's been very talkative. He's a very good speaker, motivational speaker too. He knows how to address the team in a great manner. And when Hines came in, it was a spark for us because there's players that haven't played with him. I don't care if you're Kaprizov or if you're myself. You're still going to have that, I got to have this guy like me, And that goes a long way. And so from the get-go, he's been awesome, and he's been patient, and he's been not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's been just trying to put in systems that can work for our team and work for our identity, but he was throwing just one little grain of salt at a time. He wasn't coming in and bulldozing the whole thing.
Okay.
So he's been great. And like I said, Dean Evison, awesome. Wish him all the best. He was fantastic for me. And Hines, he's been great too so far. And the reason why we may have slipped a little bit is just because we need to continually stay on the same page as a 5-man unit on the ice, not including goalies, but a 5-man unit on the ice to our systems and to our identity. And that's what we need to continue to go forward and doing. That's what we did against the Islanders, and they didn't have a sniff of winning that game. Like, I was like, looking at it, it's like we are bulldozing them right now.
Totally dominated them.
But that's what you saw when we went on the 11 out of 14.
Yes.
Kind of what I said about playing with the Gophers. We knew we were winning.
Yeah.
I got to the dinner table at my parents' house, and I literally said, I don't think we're going to lose another game the rest of the year. I was like, that's how much it's so contagious, and winning's so contagious. And when everyone's on board, no one's going to steer that ship off its course. No team, no goalie, nothing. And when you lose, what good teams do is, okay, leave it. We're winning the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Short memory.
Yeah.
So, Vinny, you've been involved in a couple of different organizations. You were with the Rangers, the Ducks, the Bruins prior to coming to Minnesota. What can you tell us about those different organizations? How'd you like them? Which one was your favorite stop?
They're all different. New York, New York's New York. It's. I don't care who you are. It's just the place to be. If you're making it, it's like you're on a pedestal there, and it comes with a lot of pressure. It was. I'm just beyond grateful I got to play for them. Like I said, playing with guys like Lundqvist too. I played with Rick Nash for a little stint there. I made some of my best friends still to this day: Kevin Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, Brady Shea, Jimmy Vesey, all these guys, Ryan Strome, these great hockey players with great people that I got to play with, and I'm still competing with. And Panarin, I was there when he was there, and he is like, every time I see him, the guy will come over and talk to me and be so friendly because that's just who he is. But they all offer different things. Like, then you go to Anaheim, and then it's like not really a hockey place. You love the weather, and you just want to try to win every night, but it's not you need internal motivation there, because the outside is not going to fuel you as much. But when Getzlaf and Solani and those guys were making a run, and when they won, that Honda Center was absolutely electric. So it's like, it was tougher to go from MSG to then Anaheim, where it was like a quarter full in the Honda Center a lot. And I had an unbelievable time there. My wife loved it. We loved everything about it. We loved the coaching staff. We loved the trainers. We loved the guys there. It was phenomenal. But it just offers different things. And then you go to Boston, and all they live and breathe is culture. Look at the guys before them, like Chara and Bergeron and Marchand and like Sweeney and all those guys on staff, and Kelly, they all played too. They all played for the Bruins. Like, there's a culture there that if you're not a part of it, you're out. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're 30-goal scorer, 40-goal scorer. If you don't fit with the culture and with the group, Adam McQuaid, one of the best guys I've played with in New York, one of the best guys I've ever met. But just a killer on the ice. And he played for the Bruins too. Winning that's it. They go to the meeting before the season, and their goal is to win the Stanley Cup. Versus, like, Anaheim's goal would be to make the playoffs, right now. And because they're still rebuilding, and they're getting a lot of good players coming in. And they're going to be a hell of a team as time goes on. But Bruins are just like, we're winning the Stanley Cup. If we don't win the Stanley Cup, it's a disappointment. And then with Minnesota, same thing, Stanley Cup. Now, the media will tell you first round, but that's not what we think. We're thinking Stanley Cup. Anything less than that's a disappointment.
Okay.
So it offers different things. And you're coming to the state of hockey. It's the best place to play. I played for MSG, or I played for Rangers and MSG. There's not a place I'd rather be than Minnesota now that I'm back here.
Now that you got the taste back in your mouth coming back to your home state.
Yeah, and the best fans. Most passionate, 18,000 every night, 19,000 every night. It's insane.
All right, let's give a shout out to a couple more sponsors. Raleigh's Coach Club in Altoona, Wisconsin, located across the street from the Altoona Ice Center on Spooner Avenue, has been a staple in the Altoona community for decades, providing support and sponsorship for youth and adult sports. Raleigh's has your favorite beverage ready and your favorite team on the screen. And Kelly Heating and Electric are dedicated to serving their customers' heating and electrical needs efficiently. They have been named one of Bryant's Medal of Excellence winners, and they provide expert advice from a friendly staff that can provide you with the knowledge you need to make the best decisions on your next electrical, heating, or air conditioning project.
You've talked about the roller coaster of the 11 wins and then, the certain amount of losses that have occurred after that. And every team goes through that. They rebound after a while. Who is your leader in the locker room that tries to motivate you through the tough times?
There's a lot of great leaders, and that's the thing about hockey and sports is I'm not even going to say sports. I'm going to say hockey, because if you take the NBA, you can always bet on probably the same teams making it, and you know from the get-go who's going to make it. Football is a little harder. There's a lot of great teams that show up. Hockey, you never know who's winning it. You never know. I don't care. You're taking the St. Louis Blues that were dead last in January. How the heck do they win the Stanley Cup?
Yes. That's
the beauty of hockey. It's an even playing field, because I don't care if you have the two best players on the ice, McDavid and Draisaitl, they're just getting 150 points a year.
Yeah.
You could have a group of average players that are going to put up, let's say, 60 points a year, but they stick to the script and they stick to the systems, and you're deep all the way through, they're going to beat you in the 7-game series. So it's so hard to predict who's going to win. But as a leadership standpoint, we have so many great guys. So many. I don't care who it is. They all want everyone to talk, whether they have a letter on their jersey, Kaprizov, Spurgeon, Moose. Now you bring in Patty Maroon, who won 3.
Yeah.
That guy's got a lot of street cred.
Yeah.
Golgoski's one. Fleury's one. You have so many leaders that have done it that don't have a letter on their jersey. So it's a full team effort. And like Moose always preaches, like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a young guy. If you want to speak up, speak up. And you have guys like Zuccarello who have been through a lot and been through some insane teams too. So I wouldn't say there's one leader, because even when I was a captain and assistant captain on teams, the way I lead is different than the way someone else leads. So
sure,
Kaprizov isn't going to be talking all the time. He's going to be talking. If there's 20 meetings, he'll talk 2 meetings, 3 meetings. And that's not to say that he doesn't like to talk and he's scared to talk. He shows it on the ice. He shows it in his work ethic. He's more comfortable showing it that way versus Moose, who's a louder guy. He'll always talk. And he's going to let you know if something's wrong. And you come back in the locker room after a bad loss, he's going to let you know right away. Spurge, he's a very calm, reserved guy that will talk and that will keep things like even keeled. And he's always and he's a welcoming leader. He's someone that you want to go and talk to and you're not afraid of. Certain captains will be scary. Like, you don't want to go and kind of rub them the wrong way, but they're such a great group where there's the characters and the culture, like I was talking about in Boston, like that's bred right through the locker room, and Billy G's done a fantastic job of doing that. And I don't care if you have a letter on your jersey or it's your first game, like I said, everyone's welcome, everyone can talk if they want, and that's just how it is. Now you're gonna get shit, no one to say that. Like Zuccarello has me, I mean, he's got me in the palm of his hands every day. He's going to chirp me about something, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to sulk about it or something. Like he likes you and he chirps you, and that's just the way guys are. That's how hockey players are. They're always, I don't care, they're always going to give you shit about something.
Yeah.
Even if you're trying to do the right thing. But that's just how our team is, and we have tons of leaders. It's hard to pinpoint one.
That's really good to hear, actually.
It is. And you need to hear that right now, because your captain has gone down for the season now. And in your mind, obviously that's rough. How do you feel the team's going to rebound from your leader being taken out for the rest of the season?
It's the next man up mentality. People are going to feel like Faber. He's probably thinking he's going to get probably a solid 20 minutes a night going into the season. They're going to lean on him to grow as a player. Did we think he's going to be the top defenseman in leading times in 30 minutes a night? No. You'd be like, no, he's not going to do that. There's his first full season. But here he is.
Yeah.
And he's done wonders with it. Yeah. And he's being looked at as a rookie of the year. Things change. that's what good teams, when good teams find a way, that's when you know that you have something special. And Spurge is a massive, massive, massive part to this group. When he gets on the ice, he just calms things down. He's so good at the puck. He's such a good skater, such good defensive stick, and his positioning is outstanding. And to lose him, you can't just say that someone's going to go fill his spot, because he's someone that it's hard to fill that. But you have to do with what hand you're given and what hand you're dealt. And that's Kucherov. Look at how many times, look at him in the playoffs. He didn't play the full entire year. And Tampa still had to find a way. Now, they have a heck of a team, but they still had to find a way to make do without him for a whole year and get into the playoffs and get into the position. He comes back. He has well over a point a game in the Stanley Cup Finals, and they win. So you're telling me that if you lost a guy like Kucherov, you'd be like, shit.
It's a big loss.
Yeah, that's a big loss. So we obviously hit an injury bug like I've never seen it before in my life. Usually they're a little bit separated from week to week, but no, we'll take 7 at the same time. And it's like it was crazy when you go to the rink for games. It'd be like a summer workout, like 7-8 guys showing up to work out. It'd be like, this is a lot of guys and a lot of important guys. So you have to make do with what you have. It's as best I can say.
Well, speaking of that injury bug, you have been hit with that injury bug as well. You suffered a lower body injury a couple weeks ago. So let us know, how is it progressing? And then also tell us, how cool is it to be playing with your hometown Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, injuries, that sucks. This is the first time actually second time in a row now. I was hurt last year with a high ankle sprain, and then this year I took a slap shot to the foot, so that's put me out for a couple weeks now, and I still got, I don't know, hopefully I'm back soon. We're taking it one day at a time, and hopefully one morning the light bulb just comes on and we're ready to rock. But it's unfortunate, but it's just part of the game. As for your other question of playing for the Minnesota Wild, there's nothing like it. And I will tell you, it's been written by Michael Russo. I told Billy this. I was on Kevin Hayes' bachelor party in Austin, and I got my call from Billy when free agency opened up. And I was like, I was never, ever, ever envisioned myself playing for the Minnesota Wild, and I have no idea why. I went to every single game growing up, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. Minnesota hockey is a little bit like the Islanders for the longest time. It's a grinding hockey. It's not the prettiest to watch. Yeah. They had great guys come through, and I would mark on my calendar teams that were coming into town. We had season tickets with my grandpa and my uncles, and so I would go to every single game I could. But if I'm going to the Sharks, I'd be like, okay, well, Minnesota versus the Sharks. I'm not going to be too excited, but I want to go because I love hockey. But you put the Capitals, I couldn't wait to get out of school and get ready to go. Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York Rangers, just players that I just marked that I couldn't wait to go watch. But now you got a guy like Kaprizov. Change the Minnesota Wild for forever, I think personally. Then you grab Zuccarello. And then fans are like, holy crap, like, what is going on here? Like, we're not dumping the puck every single time. Like, we're making insane plays, and then you got a guy like Boldy now. And
very talented player.
Yeah, so it's like guy after guy is now coming through, and it's like Kaprizov reshaped the Minnesota Wild for who they were. And it's exciting to watch. And still, I was like, I'm not going to be a Minnesota Wild player ever. I never thought of that. When my agent would call, I wouldn't even think of, hey, did Minnesota call? No, that wasn't it. But they were like, hey, you know who's got some interest in you is Minnesota Wild, and Billy's going to be calling. And I took a step back, and I was like, you're telling me I don't have to leave my home, and I can play in the NHL and have all my family members watch me, and I don't have to pack up? I was like, holy crap. I was like, that's the best thing that I've ever heard. And then when I knew that they were serious, then I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then my first time I went down the tunnel, to come out for warm-ups, I had the same exact feeling as I went down the tunnel and playing for the Gophers. I knew that song that the marching band played because I watched the Gophers so many times, and I was like, I getting chills. And then when I went out for the Minnesota Wild, I looked up to the suite that we always sat in at the club level, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever. So I'm playing for the Minnesota Wild now, my home team. I was like, this is the coolest thing. There's nothing that trumps that. As good as that it is to play for MSG, the most iconic arena in the world, this beats it for me.
So why number 10?
I play like Gabrick. No.
You go. I like that.
No, I have no idea. I usually like 95. 95 and 19 were my two favorite numbers growing up. 19 was the number I always wore if I could. Growing up through when I was a mite all the way through, I was 19. Pissed me off when I couldn't get it. But I was 19, and then when I turned pro, I was like, if I can't get 19, I'm getting 95. And then Rangers actually gave me 95 out of the gate for some reason. I didn't even ask for it. So that was just like a blessing. I got that number, and then I came here, and I was going to take 95 or 19, and then I couldn't. And so I was just like, I don't know, I'll take 10. I was like, 10's kind of a great number, and I thought back to like 10's a great soccer number too. Like all the best players wear 9 and 10 on the soccer field, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, I did not realize that.
And 7, a lot of times they won't give it to you unless you're the best player. So I was always like, that's kind of a cool number, number 10. And so I had a few options, but I was like, I'll just go with 10. I don't know. I would never have picked it.
Okay, no Gabrick comparison.
But I love 10. No.
Okay.
And I loved Gabrick. Loved him.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
He was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number now, and now I love the number. I love being 10. I don't know.
Well, you're filling it very well, young man.
Well, thank you. I got a long way to go, but thank you.
So you're on the ice, and coach says to you, pick any 2 players to be your line mates, whether it's on the Wild or any other NHL team. Who's your 2 line mates you want out there?
The reason I started 19 was Joe Sakic. So I would say I have to put him in there. I don't know. And then Ovechkin was my guy, but I like to score goals too, so it'd be a conflict of interest.
That's tough.
Who's going to pass
a lot
first?
Of assists, though.
Yeah. Should we move my grandpa up to forward for that?
Oh,
there you go. Yeah. How sweet would that be, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I don't know. There's so many good players out there, but yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Okay. Current year, you're in the corner, and you're grinding for a puck. Who's the biggest prick you go up against in the corner?
Tom Wilson's up there. Is one of the most physical guys. That's a tough guy to play against. I'm trying to think who else.
Well, that's a pretty good name in itself right there.
Yeah, Trouba's a tough guy to go against.
He's a tank out there.
Not only just you're just worried about like cross checks or like how am I going to get hit by this guy? Am I going to get just pummeled through the glass, or am I cross checked in the back, or am I going to get hit cheaply? It's like you don't know with anyone nowadays, but it's like Trouba he's made his presence known like Cronwell used to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's someone you got to keep your head up all the time, and Tom Wilson too. Those guys are huge.
Yeah.
And Troops, I played with. He was a fantastic guy, fantastic leader, and he's come into his own with New York, kind of like his Winnipeg days. And he's a terrific player.
You know, aside from Fleury, who's your toughest goaltender you've ever faced?
The biggest eye opener was Shesterkin. I played with him in Hartford, and then I played with him in New York. And when I saw him in Hartford, goalies get absolutely shelled in the AHL. Shelled. When you're having a back-to-back-to-back shutouts, and you're letting one goal in on a consecutive basis, you're like, this is a special goalie. I feel bad for goalies sometimes any given night because it's a hard league to play in, very hard league, and there are so many good goalies out there that you don't know because their percentages are flawed. I don't think it's a good way to show it in the AHL. NHL is different, but But that goalie was special, and you can see why. You watch him, and he's like a Vasilevsky. You get him in the playoffs, he'll steal you a cup.
Yeah.
He's that good. I knew Hank going into it. It's like, this goalie is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I said before, all the goalies I named who I played with, I was like, these guys I knew. I did my homework on. I've watched them all my life. Like, I knew how good these goalies were. Shesterkin I knew nothing about. And certain interviews, this is one thing that stuck with me, is that he did an interview with Hartford, and usually players, goalies, whatever, they're like, in the AHL, I want to make it to the NHL. His first thing is, I'm going to win a Stanley Cup.
Oh, he just went for the Stars right away.
That was his only thing. What are you looking forward to doing, pretty much? And I was there. I was just sitting there because I was getting interviewed next. And he's like, I'm going to win a Stanley Cup. I was like, not a lot of people are saying that.
Right.
They're making it to the NHL first, and then they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Like, their dream is to play in the NHL. He went straight for, and he hadn't played a game yet, but he said, I'm going to win a Stanley Cup. And I'm like, okay, that marks all the boxes. He's going to be one of the best goalies in the league, for sure. And sure enough, he is.
He's proven
So, you've spent time in both the AHL and the NHL, and looking at your statistics, you're basically a point-a-game player in the AHL, okay? How big of a jump is it to the NHL?
I think the AHL is faster because there's sometimes a lack of systems. People go on their own page. They don't understand what it's like to win every night when you go to the NHL, because players move up and down all the time. I don't know how the AHL coaches do it. I give them so much credit.
Yeah.
Because their hands are tied every single day. They don't know what roster they're getting, and they make do with what they have. And I give them that so much credit because it's a hard league to coach in. It's a hard league to play in. But guys literally run at you 100 miles an hour at all times, trying to take your head off.
Oh.
That's just how it is. If you watch it, it's just crazy. It doesn't look maybe as fast as the NHL, but I can tell you it's faster because the NHL players are so fundamentally sound in their positions that they never run out when they don't need to. And they know who is coming down on the ice on them. Patrick Kane, Kucherov, they're coming. They're not pinching. They're going to stay positionally sound because they know that if I take one step up, they are going to make me look foolish. Versus if you're going in the AHL, they don't care who it is. They don't see you. They just bolt. Boom. Try to hit you. The passes in the NHL, always crisp, always on the tape. Different in the AHL. It's sometimes you're missing, sometimes on your feet, sometimes your backhand. And as you always say, mistake in the NHL ends up in the back of your net. A mistake in the AHL will probably keep you in the D zone for a little bit, and then you'll get it back. That's how good these guys are. They're so smart. They're so fundamentally sound, defensively, offensively, that it's just a different ball game. But as far as speed, never have to worry about speed because people are always going to be in the right place. So that's what I think is the biggest difference.
Okay. So you're in your 8th pro season. You played 379
7th, I think, right? Or am I 8th?
Well, I thought it was your 8th, but
Is this my 7th or 8th?
Seventh.
You might even be right. I don't know. I thought it was my 7th. Maybe not.
All right, 7th or 8th, we'll go.
I was going to say, no way. Am I 8th?
So you got 379 AHL and NHL games combined, okay? So is this experience everything you dreamed of when you were a kid?
No, it's not. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. I thought it was going to be roses and playing in the NHL, and that was going to be the script. That's what I wrote down. It's to play in the NHL. I didn't write down play in the NHL, get sent up and down, pack every few months, go from state to state, go over on your miles and your lease. No, I didn't expect any of that, and that was it's a humbling experience. Now, the experiences of the NHL are everything I could have ever thought of and more. Like I told you before on Faber's recovery, the resources that you have available to you are outstanding, and it's insane. It's like you're like beyond grateful for what you're given and what you can do. I don't know. You can call up the hardest reservation to get into, and all of a sudden you can get into it because you're in the NHL. It's like that's something that's cool. That's a perk. You get treated so greatly. You have ice to yourself. You're playing with the best players in the league that you grew up watching. The chef's meals that they have for you is like you're going out to a 5-star restaurant, but you have it every day. That's the crazy part, is that people get not sick of it, but people are like, okay, I'm having a Wagyu steak for lunch at the rink. Oh, this tastes good.
For
and
lunch.
We're watching TV.
For lunch.
Wow.
Like a Wagyu flank steak. It's like, what is going on here? But I still see that, and I love it. I'm a big foodie, so I see that and I love it. But yeah, I'm telling you, the sacrifices that I made are all worth it. Skipping countless spring breaks as a kid were the death of me. But it was like, this is what you want to do. This is how you're going to make it to the NHL. It's just, some days, like my dad said, you have to sacrifice. Your buddies want to go out late and want to go hang out. You're going to have to stay in and shoot pucks. Shooting pucks, it's almost like your homework assignment every day. There's days that you want to sit on the couch like myself and watch SpongeBob as a kid and do nothing. And then in the back of my head, I was like, I didn't shoot pucks. And I was like, maybe it's okay. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's okay. And I'm fighting myself on the couch. Because those days where you wake up, you're like, I don't want to do anything.
Yes.
But then after, you're like,
Glad I did it. Because you knew your opponents were doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting the edge. It's all about putting in the extra work, and that's what my dad's instilled in me since I was a kid, and I'm still the exact same way. And I'm hungry each and every single day, and I said, just can't wait to get back and keep working on stuff. So
speaking about being hungry, and you talked a little bit about food too. So your dad, does he still run Tino's Cafe Pizzeria?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
But it was a blessing when he had it, because I lived on right off the frontage road. Went to high school, frontage road, pizza place, and then take the frontage road, my house.
Oh, nice was that?
Every day, slice of pizza, school, go back home, butter noodles. It was, every single day, slice of pizza, butter noodles, sandwich, something. And it was so, so good. He's a fantastic cook, and if he still had his pizza place, it'd be one of the best pizza places, no doubt, in the Twin Cities. He made a heck of a pizza, and he did it the right way, organically, and all fresh food and fresh pepperonis, peppers, sausage, everything. It was great.
Nice.
I've only got a couple more questions for you, and the first one is, give us an idea of what a day in the life of an NHL player is.
Good or bad?
Yeah.
My days, or
let's assume you just won a game last night and you're going into the day after a game win.
do I have practice?
Yes.
Usually it's harder to fall asleep, so take food back, go see my wife now. Go see my wife, hang out, watch TV, watch a movie, eat, wind down, probably fall asleep around 12:31. Some guys can't fall asleep till 3:34 or 5. That's just how it is. After games, you're so wired. And I also am drinking a venti cold brew at 7 o'clock at night, so it's also a little bit harder in that sense.
Sure.
But if I really need sleep, you can take melatonin and you'll be out in a half hour, an hour, and help you at least. But yeah, wind down around 1:30, fall asleep, wake up around 7:30, go to the rink. For me, I go there, so I'll give you just like what I do now, but go to the chefs. So they know right when you walk in, hey, Vinny, do you want your egg white omelet with vegetables in it? Okay, great, thanks. Go change into my workout stuff, go eat breakfast, go in the hot tub for 3 or 4 minutes, then go to the cold tub, jump in and out a couple times, shock the system, and then go to the weight room. I'll roll out, warm up. If we have a lift that day, it depends on if we're playing the next day or playing 2 days, so we'll have a lift. Go do all my stuff, hit my gear, set my gear out, pull my breezers out, my skates, tape my stick, and then we'll have a meeting. generally have a meeting from the night before, and how to get better and kind of what we're going to work on in practice. Go do my stuff on the ice before practice. Practice, stay out there a little longer, do a few things, come off, and then we'll roll out. I'll go in the sauna for 15, 20 minutes, and then go back to the cold tub for 5 minutes, and then go eat lunch, and then go back and see my wife, and then hang out with the dogs and relax, maybe Normatec at home, take a nap if I have time, and then have dinner, and boom, that's it.
Wow. A lot of time spent at the rink, that's for sure.
A lot of time on the body.
Yeah.
You think it's like, okay, you have some days, now you barely work out because you play every other day.
Sure.
So you have literally, if you break it down, you have some teams practice for 20 minutes a day. Some teams practice for 30. We'll practice for 30, 45 maybe. So really I have 35 minutes of work, but somehow I'm there from 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. So, but I just showed you why, because you have so much stuff you have to do for your body.
Yep.
And that's for me, like, is a guy like Faber and a guy that plays 30 minutes a night is maybe a little different. You got to hydrate like crazy. You got to take your vitamins. You got to take your electrolytes, your salts, just so many things you have to do to take care of your body.
A lot of science.
Yeah, probably getting a massage too to
treatment.
Up yeah.
Have guys doing treatment.
So what's the best chirp you've ever heard?
Boy, I don't know. I honestly can't. For me, I don't chirp. If I had a little better, like Maroon's a good talker out there, but I don't know. The best is probably really inappropriate from all the stuff that are said out there. But no, I don't know. I honestly don't know what.
I watched a video not too long ago of some guy on the ice, and I can't remember what team it was, chirping Maroon about being fat. Maroon just looked at him and said, "But I'm playing in the same league as you."
Yeah, and he's got three rings.
3 rings. So yeah,
there's nothing to say back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that guy is so talented. People underestimate his ability. If you watch him, his stick work and his body work on guys and positioning is some of the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
But people don't see that. People see a stat. People say, "Oh, he's not looking fast tonight," or something like that. But watch him in the corners. He rarely loses a battle. Rarely. And if he doesn't lose a battle, or if he doesn't win the battle, it's a 50-50 for someone else. He just made a play stop. So if you're a Maroon fan, that's great. If you're not, you gotta check your facts, because the guy, I see him every day, and he has opened my eyes immensely. He's great.
It's nice to have a veteran on the roster like that.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Vinny, this has been absolutely a blast, and time has flown by a lot quicker than I thought. But we appreciate you taking the time to come down and chat with us. We wish you the best of luck. Holy crap. Go wild, and the best of luck on your injury, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be good.
Yeah,
Happens.
And looking forward to a little bit of a turnaround, and I know you guys will bounce back. The way you talk, it makes us feel like we were in the locker room, actually.
Yeah, it was exciting. I'm kind of seeing visions of the Blues back a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They weren't doing that well halfway through, and all of a sudden, like you said, they're Stanley Cup champs. So it can happen. We've seen it before.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to leave us a thumbs up on our podcast, and a comment really helps on your social media platforms. Moog?
Yeah, hey, again, a huge thank you to our special guest, Vinni Lettieri, and you folks, our faithful listeners. Please remember our sponsors, Riverside Bike and Skate, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Hertel Law, Kelly Heating and Electric, and Raleigh's Coach Club. Please, again, follow us on your favorite social media platforms. And remember, folks, until next time, keep your head on a swivel and stay on your inside edges.